Thank you for coming tonight. Tonight we have a session, question and answer. So you have any question about the Dharma, about anything that you like, or anything that you'd like to share with the group? Yes, go ahead.
How do dreams affect your karma?
In Buddhism, we divide this 5 types of dream. So we call the first dream about this called tâm lý, mean your mind, and then your body. Tâm lý is come from your mind. Suddenly come from your physical body. That's the second dream. And then the karma, evil karma, and good karma. That's how many already? 4, right? And the last dream about the heaven beings, or the being that's able to allow you to know ahead the future. So we have 5 types, divide out 5 types of dream. So it depends on what type of dream do you have.
What's the type that you're interested in?
So the type of dream that you dream at night, but it depends. For example, if you have a bad karma, what we call nightmare. If you dream in tiger chasing or something evil, that means in your past you have bad karma. Now when you sleep, it will arise. Or sometimes it's our mind afraid of something. So we have evil karma dream and a good karma dream. So the good karma dream is that when you dream about doing good stuff, seeing nice people doing good stuff in your dream. And the third dream is the dream of our physical. Sometimes depending on the way we sleep, the blood circulation will not go flow through. Right? That's called physical dream. And the other one we call mental dream. Like if you think somebody too much, that night you will dream about that person. So we divide out that 5 types of dream. So when you look at your dream and you can see, identify what dream do you have.
Well, if you wake up and you have a bad dream,
Mhm.
does that mean that if you're doing bad things in your dreams, does
Yes.
that mean that it will affect your karma overall?
If you attach to it, if you follow it, it will affect your karma. All the dreams come from your past karma. It's arise during your sleep. Just like when we meditate, our thought arise because what we receive during the day, during the night, during the month, the year, or the past 20 or 30 years that we did, it will arise through our dream too. So in case if we have a bad nightmare dream, we should contemplate all the dreams not real. And then we have the mind of soul, love, compassion. And then if you have an altar at home, you stay in front of the Buddha or whatever, you pray. You give out all your bad thing from your dream. Say that. It's called, we call sám hối, mean repent. Repent that you did something very bad. That's why we have the dream. Now we want to try to do better. So sometimes bad dream remind us that must be we have bad karma. That's why we have to do good thing. But until you do good thing, helping people, have less anger, frustration, then the next time you have good dream, you transform your bad karma into good karma. Right? So it's very important that dream can tell us that we have a habit of bad or something terrible in our mind. Right? So dream is very helpful, but don't believe all dream is true. It's just a dream. Right? If you have nightmare every night, that means must be something wrong with your daily activity. Right? Yes.
What about dreams caused by demons or hungry ghosts?
That's another different story. Yeah, must be you did something to them. Yeah. So how do we do that? Usually we do show compassion, love and kindness. Right? We practice on every day. We meditate, share love, compassion, and dream bad dream will disappear. Because in our mind we still have a lot of bad things inside. That's why when we sleep it's arise. Right? Just like before I become a monk, I have a lot of terrible dreams. And then through my monk, I train in, I meditate, I do good things. Now I have good dream. And sometimes I don't have no dream. Right? So you can see the process of transform. From the past you did something, then you can transform. So dream is also a way to help you wake up yourself to do good things. Right? Yes, go ahead.
So that state you have when you're dreaming and you know you're dreaming, what should you be doing in that state?
If you're dreaming, you are not.
No, you could be making the dream up.
Yes,
You could be
yes,
creating the dream. Your
Yes,
mind
that's
is
right.
making the dream.
yes.
So should you?
So if you make the dream up, you can destroy the dream up.
So you don't want to have any dream?
Yeah, it depends on you. If you want to make more dream, then continue dream.
But can a dream be helpful spiritually?
It can helpful, but it can harmful. Right. It depends on how you use it. Just like if you have something terrible, you want a good dream, you can create a dream, right? Right. But don't attach to your dream, because all dreams come with delusion from your thinking mind. So if you create some kind of dream, doesn't mean you create it. If you create something, you can let it go. Right. But I think the best is to have no dream, unless they have some dream that you cannot. It's automatically come from you or somebody. What we call hộ pháp mách bảo, I mean the angel or the good person, they come and advise you to do good thing or something like that. So sometimes we talk about dream is very difficult because we are in sleep. We cannot control our mind. Right? Yes, go ahead.
So you just have to let things go that you don't have control over?
Yes, sometimes we cannot control something, we should let go. Yes, don't hang on it because it's beyond our hand. Right? But sometimes dream, if you are, it's a good lesson to learn from your dream. And then some dream is not helpful. So anything that helps you to your practice, then you should learn from that lesson. If that not helping you, then try to let it go. Right? Because dream affect many things. Come from your working day, come from your medication, the way you sleep, the bad day you got, or good day you got. Right?
Maybe even what you ate.
Yeah, and you eat too. Yeah. If you because all the environment that affect your mind a lot. So that's why we want to have a good dream. Yeah, good dream. If you have a good dream, you have a good day. If you have a nightmare dream, that day can be rough. But we can transform the nightmare into a good.
Yeah, sometimes it's conditioned too, at least from my wife. I notice I sleep with her. If she tries to pull a blanket up to her neck, and it'll be too much and it's warm, and then she will, I can tell she's dreaming. It's like bad dream.
Yes.
Yeah. So I sleep with my arms out. So, the blanket can kind of go past my arms, and so that's okay. So check maybe the way you sleep too. If it's too warm, too cold, could cause.
Just like a lot of people, they sometimes sleep and then at night they screaming.
Yeah.
Because probably the weather or something. So depend on how you sleep. That's why the Buddha advised us to sleep on our right. Usually we sleep on the side. We don't lie flat. Because those on slides help you more awake. If you fly left, sometimes if we tired, we lie flat, but we usually sleep on one side. Because one side help you like more awake, more awareness. On the right side. Yes.
But don't you want to have a deep sleep so you can rest
Yes.
more deeply?
Yeah. If you want to go sleep, you have to go deep sleep. So you can lie on your right, you go this deep sleep. Right. You don't have to be flat. But sometimes if you're tired, you can be flat. But if you go deep sleep, it's very healthy body. Yeah, the next morning you feel healthy. That's why for a Buddhist monk we go deep sleep. And like we sleep only 5 hours a day. But when we go slow our eye, we follow breath. We go deep sleep. That's why deep sleep you don't have a lot of dream. But sometimes dream you don't remember. Right? But deep sleep will help you relax your body more. And like some people sleep only 2 or 3 hours, but they go deep sleep, they feel fine. But if you don't go deep sleep, you sleep 8 or 9 hours, you feel tired. Right? A lot of people are like, you can tell, a lot of people sleep 10 hours, but they feel tired because the sleep is like up and on, off and on. They're not in deep sleep. So psychologists, they have a stage from alpha, theta, gamma sleep. Yeah. So deep sleep is very best for you to relax your body and relax your mind. And the next morning, you wake up, you have more energy. Anybody have suggestion from your sleep?
Just like you mentioned, that's what I do too. I practice, like if you're, instead of sitting meditation, it's like sleeping meditation, but this is okay to sleep. And so that's what I do. So that's what they call it the Vipassana, when you just lie flat, your arm palm. That's how I tend to sleep. I sleep on my side too. But I use the same meditation practices, but in this, it's acceptable to go to sleep. And I sleep sound. My REM sleep is like usually 1 to 2. So as long as I get good sleep between 1 and 2, maybe 3, then that's plenty of sleep.
So every night your wife is screaming.
she tends to pull a blanket too much, so I have to remind her, I sleep my
You have that comment.
Well, she'll kind of shake, move in bed, and I'll look over and I'll know.
Sometimes walking too hard, walking too hard, and then another walker.
Yeah.
Might see have nightmare, stress out. Yeah, sometimes stress can cause us a lot of dream too.
For me, it's not so much the sleep position. I just count my breath,
Breath, that's good.
throughout the night, and then sometimes I'll get to like number 90. Like I'll just, inhale 1 and then exhale 1 and then just continue that way. For me, it seems to work, but it takes time.
Yes.
Yeah, interesting. For me, like 3 minutes. I'm out in 3 minutes.
Yeah, some people easy to sleep, some people it's harder to sleep. Depend on your body, your situation. Yes, go ahead.
I think for women of a certain age too, our hormones really can interfere with deep sleep or
Yes.
continued sleep. They wake up drenched in sweat and whatever.
So sorry.
Sorry for bringing that up, but it's true.
I heard that most men is easy to sleep than woman. Yeah. Usually a husband is going in deep sleep and the wife stay there. Yeah. It's snowing. So it depends on your body, your physical body, physical, mental. And some people drink a lot of coffee during at night. Before you go to sleep, you drink coffee as well. It's tickle your mental. So depends on the food you eat and the thing you drink. It really affects You sleep in your dream. Anybody have difficult time of sleeping here? Yes.
Yeah, I wake up every 2 hours.
You wake up every 2 hours. You have
Yeah.
kidney problem?
Kidney?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of it.
Yeah.
But I think a very active mind too.
Yes.
But I used to do the guided meditations,
Mhm.
and I think I should do that again.
That's good. That's good.
Is there something to maybe look in a book to read or to chant nightly?
About what?
Or something, I don't know, something you would read nightly
Before you go to sleep or what?
before you go to bed?
Relaxing.
Before we go to sleep, we should read some books, teach us about spiritual. Usually, before I go to sleep, I study the Dharma. I read the Sutra. Read good thing, read good news. Before you go to sleep, don't read bad news. Read something good, story, something that helps you your daily activity, encourage you to practice. Don't read all this new bad thing.
Any particular book?
The Dharma, there's a lot of Dharma teaching. Yeah, any Dharma that help you,
Anyone?
anyone. I don't know, there's a variety.
I was gonna say, my wife,
Dharma Chana.
yeah, there's a lot of like YouTube videos and stuff that are, calming. So, the same music you use for like yoga. So my wife uses Om Mani Padme Om. You can hear that. And when we were in Vietnam, there was a nun monastery only, and so I recorded that, and she uses that to listen to too. And they do that, at night, like at 9 p.m. They walk around and they just chant Om Mani Padme Om, and then, Vietnamese Ayida Phật. Let's see, another one she would chant before she goes, because she kind of has to prepare herself to go to sleep. It's the Vietnamese word is, let's see, người tu tâm thật là hiền. So a person that truly practices is a good person. I guess it's, really, someone else can probably translate better than me, but, there's certain things you can do, and that seems to work for her. So listening to some things, chanting.
So the best thing is you meditate 15 or 20 minutes before you go to sleep,
Yeah.
and try to relax your body and try to relax your mind. And then when you lie out, just like meditate for your breath in and out, we call sleeping meditation. Try to relax your body, relax your mind, try to let everything go. Don't hang on it. Because sometimes we read something and then we think about it and take harder to sleep too. So people try music, try other thing. I think sleep is very easy. The easiest thing you can do in your life. Just lie down and sleep. If you are not a very sleeper, stay up and bring some books to read about the Dhammapada or whatever, the Sutra, or some good Buddhist teaching or meditation books. You can read about it.
We used to go on walks, so that helps, but we went back to doing yoga. So, Tang taught us you can either do it at home with YouTube, or there's classes, pretty reasonable LA Fitness or 24-hour fitness. And 7, 8 o'clock at night, almost every single night at one of these nearby locations. And that helps too, because you burn a lot of energy. But I think that yoga, it's good it helps for meditation, but also helps for sleep, because you really, it helps with balance, it helps with mental, it helps with circulation, it helps with digestive, because they teach you to, squeeze your body. So the stuff that you saw, in retreat, that Tang teaches, you can practice those steps, and those help a lot too. Flexibility too.
It's not really a Buddhist thing, but Bach was commissioned to write some music for an insomniac, who's a lord or something. It's called Goldberg Variations. Pretty good. But I recommend the breathing meditation, clearing your mind, counting your breaths. That really settles me down and helps me go to sleep.
Yeah, that's a good topic.
We like to sleep.
Yeah, you like to sleep. If you cannot come sleep, come to the monastery. Meditate all night long. Yes.
I use that insight timer. A year ago, I downloaded an insight timer app.
Yeah.
And it's got thousands of different meditations by different people. I went to the one by Thich Nhat Hanh. It's a guided breath meditation, almost have it memorized, but I just put my
Headset.
earbuds in there, my phone is in my phone, and I almost always wake up and turn it off. But okay, it looks like that, and go, okay. This is Insight, INSIGHT.
It's called Insight Timer.
Yeah.
It's on app,
Yeah.
Android or Apple. Okay, you have a question?
Yeah, so something that I think is very helpful, I had a hard time sleeping a while back, but Tai Chi, sleep learning series, and guided imagery. So I just try to check out different stuff all the time on guided imagery.
Well, we have difficult time of sleep. Sleep is the easiest thing in the world. Okay, next subject. Next topic. Yes, go ahead.
I find that I have a lot of anger towards my supervisor.
Mm.
It's like, I like
He does.
it's historical. I mean, I like the person, and but I think when I try to contemplate why, I think I have a fear about the power they have over my life.
How long did you work for him?
Well, it's a woman that she's just started this past year, but I've worked, this has been true of all my supervisors, so it's not really the person, I think it's more me, how I react to
Yes.
it. I think I resent how much power they have over my life and how they could, with an evaluation, destroy my career. And then I have this fear that then, just creates anger, and resentment towards them. I'm wondering if you have any advice on how to try to transform that resentment or get past it.
This is your, what do they do? Is it all the time?
It's just the fact that they, when I'm in evaluation, I always do well. In the end, it always turns out okay. But I just have this fear that through that evaluation, they could destroy me.
So that is your fear right there. Non-fear. Go back to non-fear. What the fear about? Just each moment, contemplate each moment, each day you live. Truly love that moment. Compassion. So your compassion, love and kindness. So if you feel something, that's trigger you more anger. So every day you just come, do your best, show compassion with him, and stop fear. Because the fear will cost you more harm than them. So the first thing you have to show compassion, love and kindness, stop fear. And then don't worry about the job. If you lost a job, that's the way. It doesn't matter how hard you try. When you lost, you lost. Just do your best. Yeah. Because life is impermanent. Today we here, tomorrow we might not be here. What's the point of getting angry, frustrated, fear? Right? So anybody have
So
any
compassion
suggestions?
for himself too, right? Are you talking about the supervisor and himself?
First, he say we have to do by ourselves first. Yes, because they cost us something. Must be we did something to them. There's always interconnect together. Right? There's nothing must suddenly happen. Somebody cause us to get angry. Right? So we have to look at our part. What did we do? What did we do to cause them to do this thing? Right? We must be not nice to them. Must be we did something to make them upset. So we always look at the problem and to see how I deal with these people around us.
This probably a delusion is probably not true at all.
Yeah.
They're probably not even thinking what you're thinking.
Yes. Sometimes we overreact, overthinking, overfear. Yeah. That's why we get anxiety, fear.
I know exactly what you mean, because I used to be just crippled by that, and it's hard to say what exactly changed, but I just somehow, just faked it until I made it, I guess, and because again, it was everybody, at any job, it didn't really matter, because I felt the exact same. It's not, it's like, I should be in control of my life. And, my behavior should dictate my chances, not some other person's opinion that I might not get along with or that I'm misunderstanding with. I got lucky with this job because my supervisors and bosses are all relatively nice and approachable, but still, I think I don't know, just countering that fear with positivity, positive thinking, and appreciating that they're, human beings and struggling and suffering just like I am. And even though we may be different ages, different backgrounds, that we still have a lot in common, and try to build on that.
Yes.
I also have had that similar experience, and for me that comes from knowing that, I don't know if this is what causes a fear for you, but for me it's because my boss could fire me at any time, and therefore I could lose my home at any time and all the material things that make me comfortable. So the times when I'm most able to let go of the fear is when I get to the place where I feel I can accept the worst case scenario. Like even if I lost all of my material things, I'd still be okay.
I think a lot of mindfulness, no matter what the outcome is, I used to do certain things in my life that wasn't very helpful for me because I did lose a lot of jobs and I had to start over so many times. But at the end, I realized that if I'm most mindful in myself, then any of these things that matter, or any of these things that seem to matter at the moment, deep down inside, they really don't. You just kind of have to go with life. But life offers us. I think that's really hard, psychologically speaking, to do, but more mindfulness exercises, I think, is helpful.
Okay, anybody else? Yes.
I had decades in the same profession, and it was I had several
30 years, right?
I had several decades in the
Oh.
same profession, and a lot of different bosses, and it's always that same feeling that I didn't like their authority, but now that I can look back, being retired, I think it was my
Thank
looking
goodness.
for approval, looking for acceptance, and not feeling like I wasn't worthy of anything, and it's like they couldn't give it to me. They couldn't provide that, and now looking back, it's like I have to be accepting and loving of myself and feeling worthy of myself, which is, it's hard to even say that, but just, I couldn't get it from the people or my bosses. They couldn't give it to me. So I just had to feel worthy, and I think what Tay is saying about being, just doing a good job every day, just being true to yourself and honoring those 5 precepts, and just knowing that you've done a good job. You've done a good job.
Yes,
you,
go ahead.
you yourself said that it always works out.
Yeah.
So
I gotta always remind myself.
yeah, it's like a perceived fear, like you're perceiving power, like they have power over you when they really don't. It's just all up here that you're thinking they have power over you because you could lose your job, but you never lose you.
So maybe it's like an attachment to the job too, or to what my job provides me.
But what you do, because you put so much into your work that maybe you're attached to your work, and that Mike is my
See one go
work.
out.
You are my work is Mike. I don't know. Yeah.
So get tired.
I was asking all this, stress and emotion, if you can pull yourself away from it, I was asking myself, this is, are these feelings really necessary? Is this, really
Okay, Stephen, see here, have some suggestions.
I think one of the best pieces of business advice I ever received, which is kind of shocking, but one time somebody sat me down. I was moving to a new job, new career, and my boss sat me down and said, "Steve, I'm going to tell you a little piece of information that was the best piece of information I ever got." And she told me, she says, they don't love you. And so if you just go in knowing that they don't have to love you, all you have to do is appreciate the work that you do, be satisfied with what you do, and then it doesn't matter because they are not going to love you. You're replaceable, you're a wheel in the cog, and just do the best you can, and that should be good enough.
If you have no place to work, come to monastery. Be a monk. We all accept people here. Free food, free everything. All you need to practice.
Just to add that it's the same thing. They're just a wheel in the cog too,
Yeah.
just at a different level.
I think sometimes I get too, like, find myself head to head with the supervisor. It's like, I'll have a notion about, you know, about the decision to make, and I'll get this idea that this is the right way to do something. And right when I think that, where I get there's a right way and a wrong way, then it's over. You know, it's kind of like, then I start to get self-righteous and think that I know the best way, and that everyone else is wrong. And, it's just kind of like, it just goes down the wrong road. You know, at that point I'm lost.
One of the things I found as a middle manager, where I have people under me and people above me, and one of the things that you have to realize also is that there's this thing called business intelligence, that different levels within a business have different views and different insight to what the business needs and what's going on. So at each level, they have their little piece of insight, but it may not be the big picture. And so as it goes down, the insight gets smaller and smaller, but the business intelligence hasn't been passed all the way down, and so you're not sharing that big picture. So a lot of times, even the picture that your supervisor is providing, he knows a lot more that he is either not at liberty to discuss with you or that he's making his judgments from. So a lot of times it's our protectionism within ourselves that, you know, like it's a fight or flight thing. So your mind wants to put you out there and put you up against it, but the reality of the situation is you have to be mindful, and you also have to know that you don't know what they know, and who knows what anybody knows all the way up the line. Just like they don't know what's all the way down the line, and hopefully there's somebody there that listens to both directions. But not always do they listen.
Thank goodness I have a good boss. He always sits up there and smiling.
It goes with the saying, I think I read an article where they said, and it's the same like Buddhist practice, that, you know, it's intent. You have good intent. So the same thing with good intentions. It's the same with, let's say, you know, successful people. They don't set goals. They have intent, either for the year or for the day. They go, well, today I would like to do well, you know, or whatever it is, you know, to do good things. So at the end of the day, they don't have goals that says, well, I need to have, you know, a lot of sales or please certain people. Just intention is to, you know, to do well, to do good. So they do the best they can that day. And if you're flexible with it, you know, every day, if that's your intention is to do good, do no harm, that kind of stuff, then your day will come out, you know, that you succeed. It's just a little easier than to set the goals or set that we have to do this or that. And I thought that was it seems pretty good, pretty effective.
But also know that you can't operate at peak performance every day. People have off days, so you can't judge every day also. It's that day, you're doing what you can, and sometimes you can't do what you did the day before. So it's okay to not be grinding it out to your maximum every single day.
Okay, anybody else? Next question. Your guys follow the people here. Do you have any question? Anything that you'd like to share? Your family? You have two beautiful daughters.
Thanks for having us. It's nice to
Thank you for coming. Yeah. Your first time here, right?
Yes.
So what do you like to learn about meditation? How you heard about this place? you studied meditation before?
No.
Okay. Only at the class we have some book, you can read about it.
Well, I have a comment and then a question.
Okay.
You always say the smartest things, Ty. When I go home, I say, man, he's smart. He knows things. Well, because one time you said the Sangha provides energy, and if you have a problem, bring it to the Sangha. Because I was going through something that was really difficult, and I stayed home 3 nights, 3 Wednesdays, and I thought, this was so painful, I just want to deal with it myself. And of course I thought about it nonstop for, that period. And then when I came back, even though we didn't talk about it, no verbal words were saying, I did pick up the energy from the group. So I noticed, I said, yeah, I did need that. I do need this group. Whereas I thought I needed just to solve this thing by myself and be by myself. It was actually the wrong thing to do. So I want to thank everyone, all of you, just for your energy.
So sometimes it's very important, that is why we have a Sangha, that we can solve the problem together. Usually a big family, right? Because all the problems come from our, when we come here to practice and we give out energy, when our mind at peace, we have calm peace and we have this positive energy. So sometimes we don't have to answer, we receive by our mind. So sometimes we have a lot of questions at home, when we come here we have no question. Yeah, because the energy of the Sangha, of the community, and everybody is so calm and patient. But when you're at home, you have a lot of negative energy around you. That's why we worry, fear, anxiety. So that's why the Buddha, when he formed a Sangha, he said the Sangha is very important, that we love to live each other and to share and to help each other to solve the problem. Some problem we need to solve for ourselves. Some problem we need a Sangha to solve ourselves. Because some problem we cannot solve ourselves, we cannot handle. It's like this 300 pounds of rock coming down. Only yourself carry is very difficult. But we have a Sangha able to, each person have this energy, the rock will become lighter. So our problem like a rock like that. So Sangha is very important. That's why you have to come every week. Every week you come here to meet, to practice. Seems like nothing, but the more you come, it will add up. It will build up. And you see how different from practicing from yourself and practice from the Sangha. Okay? So this is very important. Doesn't matter how bad day you have or how lazy or day you have, try to come. You have to overcome that laziness, overcome that thought. Right? This will overcome all bad habit, energy.
Well, I
I
felt
know it's a
bad.
difficult time to come here every Wednesday, but try to determine.
I was real grumpy, and I thought, I don't want to go.
Yeah, there we go, the negative mind, the monkey mind.
Yeah,
Try to
but
fight
the minute I walk in the door, it's different. I
Yeah,
feel this good. So that was wrong thinking. So I corrected that.
it's good.
And then the other thing is, some of us did the 5 precept ceremony.
Mhm.
And I wonder, is there anything after that for lay persons? Is there something we could study for, or is there...
Usually every month or every 2 weeks you have to sit, if you have an altar at home, you recite the 5 precepts for yourself.
Okay.
Yes. And then you recite back, because every Sunday we recite in Vietnamese. So probably next time I will write out in English so we can recite every Wednesday. After Hot Sutra, we recite the 5 precepts.
Oh, nice.
So this remind you, we take the 5 precepts.
But-
We just pronounce the 5 precepts and the Vinjulu Bhakti, you can bring home and read some more about
Oh,
it.
nice.
Yeah.
But is there another step for another ceremony? The next step?
For the 5 precepts,
No, just for.
The next step is 8 precept.
Okay.
Yeah. So 8 precept. If you want to take the 5 precept, you want to take the 8 precept because 8 precept is the 24-hour practice. So that's why every retreat we recite the 8 precept. Remember, only that day you recite the 8 precept. And then we have a lay person Bodhisattva precept. There's like 48 precept for a lay person if you want to take the Bodhisattva precept. Another 48.
Is that only eat once, 1 meal a day?
No. Yeah, this is the 8 precept and you practice the retreat 24 days. But 8 meal a day is only for monk, for other precept. Yeah. But for lay people it's different. Yeah. Yes, go ahead.
Do you eat 1 meal a day as a monk in this?
Usually in old time we do, but right now we just not 2 meal a day. We have 2 meal a day, and at evening we do some snack, light snack.
Breakfast and lunch?
We usually mainly the breakfast and lunch, and evening we have drink meals or eat some small light snack. Yeah. Because today our body is different. Because today we do a lot of work. The monastery we had to run and we had to do the garden and we did. But during the Buddha time, all they do is go back in and go home and practice. They don't do all this, pay the bill, all the stuff. But I had to pay the bill, pay the rent, cut the grass, and do all stuff. I eat 1 meal a day, I will die soon. Right? So you have to depend on the situation too, and the culture we live in, and then we eat vegetarian too. Yes, you have a question?
So it's till 9:30 every Wednesday?
Every 7
Or 7 to 9:30?
to 8:30.
Oh, 8:30.
We have a website meetup. You can go to meetup.com. We have a website. So every Wednesday we have 7.
And so you can leave a little bit earlier than 8:30?
Yeah, you can go. You can leave at 8. Yeah, if you have children. Yeah. Right now it's 8, right? Yeah. Okay, you can leave early. Okay. Yes, go.
I know there's a lot of controversy on the topic of whether to drink or not to drink, alcoholic beverages. What is your idea on?
The what is the 5th precept? The 5th precept says do not drink heavy alcohol.
Oh.
Yeah, heavy alcohol. We forgot the term heavy. Like drink 1 or 2 at home is okay, but if you drink until you're drunk, don't do that. You break the precept. If you drink drunk and then you're driving, you cause a lot of problems. So today's society, we can drink 1 or 2 to help us digestion, help the blood circulation, or help patient, but don't addict to it. Don't attach to it, and then don't over drink. Just like the medicine. Like the food is the same thing. If you eat something, you overeat, you poison yourself, that's considered breaking the precept, even for the food. Okay. So we have to do everything in moderation. So drinking here alcohol means heavy drink. Nah. Yes, correct.
Some of us are Irish and don't make those. Blood gets dangerously thin.
Yes. So drinking okay, but you stay at home. Don't drive. Stay home. Drink and go sleep. Don't drink and then mess around.
Or Uber, Lyft.
Yes. It's very dangerous. You're drinking and then you're driving and then you get put in jail and then your whole life's gone. There we go.
I would never drink and drive.
Yeah, that's right. So when you drink, stay home. 1 or 2, go sleep. Because the precept of the Buddha is open. It's not like strict. Like you don't have to drink, you don't drink. No, not like that. It's open. As long as you don't attach to it. Just like go back to 1 meal a day. Usually old time is 1 meal a day, but today is eating 3 meals a day, 2.5. So it depends on the culture, society, the model body, yeah, the situation. Okay, any further question? Yes, go ahead.
Okay, well, I wanted to sort of get my thoughts together a little better before tonight, and I forgot it was a question answered tonight, but maybe if I explain, I can have some input from other people. I was raised in one of the major Christian religions until I was 20, I guess, and then I switched to another major Christian religion. And so I still struggle a little bit with the concept of God as creator, and when I try to think for myself, like God is the spark within me that connects me to everybody else, and that I struggle with the idea of a soul. And I know you've talked in the past about words are just words, so sometimes words aren't exactly perfect to describe something. So can true nature be, can I consider that kind of like a soul, or how do you guys deal with all that? It's hard to incorporate what I was taught when I was a child, and then what I've learned now. This makes it more comfortable and makes more sense to me, but it's like trying to find my way, creating like a God of my understanding, I guess. I belong also to a 12-step group, so that's a God or a higher power of my understanding. So what I did is I went to the computer and I tried to type up a list of what Christianity says and what 12-step programs teach and what I learned here. It's like a lot of the concepts are the same, but the words are just different. So I guess I just like to have input on how other people think about that.
Okay, Michael?
Yeah, that's something that I struggled with for a long time as well, because I couldn't accept the idea of a non-self, because I'm attached to my concept of self and to my soul, the concept of the soul in me as an eternal being. And I thought about it, I prayed about it, I studied, and I struggled until I started reading some really ancient Christian writings, like Tatian and Justin Martyr and the Clementine literature. I forget what they call that, but it appears that there was a transformation over time in the theology of Christianity, away from what Jesus would have known and taught, which was to those first century people. It's not very well recorded in what we have in the New Testament. And later on in the Middle Ages, it became, rather orthodox and dogmatic. But in my understanding, the soul is the Buddha nature. The way Jesus describes it in the Gospels, happy are they that find it. It's the kingdom of God. He used all these metaphors. When we appreciate it inside of us, the reign of heaven, magnifies outside of us. If we all lived within our Buddha nature, then life would just be blissful, from dusk to dawn. And I wish I could remember more specifically, because I'm focusing on a project and I haven't had a lot of time to keep fresh with that. But I would recommend Tatian. There's not much of those early writings that are left. But his exhortation to the Greeks, he goes into a comparison between the pagan system, and he knew all of the philosophies, he knew everything. And he was raised in it, and contrasting that with Christianity. He's considered a heretic by modern orthodoxy, but that's because they're looking at it from a retrospective, dogmatic position. And they did the same thing with Origen. They excommunicated him 400 years after he died. And based off of rumors and reports of what he taught. And it really had nothing to do with what he taught. And so Christianity's distanced itself more from those ancient Christians and really lost track of itself, I think, over time. Yeah, I mean, I don't have any hard and fast answers. I think you have to find that for yourself. Because the Buddha taught about, about the two extremes being erroneous, the nihilistic perspective and the eternalist perspective. And from our study, I think the best Buddhist source would be the questions of King Milinda. There's a conversation between, and it's a true story, between the king of Bactria, King Milinda, who is a Greek. He's a descendant of one of Alexander's generals. And he conversed with Nagasena, and he converted to Buddhism, and the whole kingdom converted with him. And Nagasena and he really go into that because that was such a huge part of Greek philosophy and Greek morality and religion. So it was a huge obstacle for him as well. And Nagasena satisfied his curiosity in that. So I recommend those two sources, the early Christian and not very time.
Okay, Stephen Evans.
I kind of have a very simplistic view. One is you have learned knowledge and then you have unlearned knowledge. Unlearned knowledge is the Buddha nature. And one of the things that I think is that, we're born into this body where our minds have two sides. We have a learned side and we have an unlearned side. And our learned side is very physical in reference. But when you look at it, an atom is 99.99999% nothing. So really, everything around us is nothing. It's what we see and what we feel. These are our senses. So this is the known world, is the physical. But we have the unknown, which is that 99.999% of space that we don't know. And that's what makes us all one, is the space. So I can think of myself as every person in this room and everything in the whole entire universe, because what's here of me is so little that what's mostly me is what's everything else. So my unknown Buddha nature is that everything else. And so I don't question. I mean, I know I have this duality, but I also have this non-duality in the fact knowing that I'm stuck on the physicalness, but my Buddha nature, my unknown knowledge, is based on everything else in existence or non-existence.
I don't know how something came from nothing, and there's a YouTube video about all these physicists just having that discussion. This goes back to your question about did God create everything? That's a tough one. But right now I'm watching this DVD from Netflix, Secrets of Enlightenment by Deepak Chopra. And he explains enlightenment from the Christian perspective, from the words of Jesus, not from the Eastern. He's using Christian terminology, quotes directly from the Bible to explain Eastern philosophy of meditation, meditational experience. And I think it's really good because I've had questions before, how do I bridge that gap? And I would bridge them myself, but here he is in his DVD bridging everything. That I had a question about, Jesus said this and it relates to this. Sometimes he would explain a meditation experience and then he'll fall back on what Jesus said that explains this. So it's really, I must have seen it before, I don't know, but if I did, it just went over my head back then, but now it makes sense to me. It's called Secrets of Enlightenment, Deepak Chopra. It's on DVD, it's not on stream.
I'm not really sure how much, all that stuff matters, As long as, people making
Yeah, I think, you know, you have to think about religions in a true heart, they're all very much alike in so many ways, but people have messed them up. Terrible. I think it, you know, because I was raised Catholic, and so you are indoctrinated and you're given all this stuff to such an extent that it's hard to think past that. And it's difficult. But
It's all about love.
yeah.
Love, and you can squeeze in the non-duality somewhere along the lines. But that's what all the religions are about. That's what, you know, Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. Every book I ever read, I read the Bible from cover to cover 3 times, and the one thing I got out of it was love. Love, love, love. Every book I've read, religious book, that's where it was. And if you can see yourself in somebody else, it's easy to have compassion.
Okay. Anybody else have any suggestion?
Just comment, the mind is very tricky. It'll do everything it can to prevent you from whatever it is you want. I want enlightenment. Sometimes, like you said, all those things don't matter. All you need is this one simple thing. That's true. It depends on where you are in your level of consciousness at any given moment. Sometimes I think it's just so simple. Sometimes I have a lot of questions, and I ask a lot of questions and get a lot of answers, and it's, after a while, you just throw all that stuff away. And sometimes you study so much, your mind implodes. And then you just go back to simplicity. And then you go back to complexity. It's
Everybody has, you know, different things that they believe in, and, you know, the origination of different things, but what I like about being in here is just like the whole person, the holistic interventions, because the way that certain things are interpreted, I feel like, over time, it's been read differently by different people, and so practicing in this and also Eastern philosophies for me personally helped me out a lot, because I don't feel like I was along with the masses, you know, like with certain people have to go through certain psychological experiences and recover, and I feel like this is more of a holistic type, and you don't really have to get into the nitty-gritty details, but that was just for me though.
I find often when I'm talking with friends who are of religions, especially religions that use language around God, because it's not necessarily something that I personally connect with, but I find I often hear similar things being said. One of the things that my friend says often that I really like, and I hear when I hear about impermanence here, I think about it as being the same as man plans, God laughs, and it's his way of explaining why we don't have control, and I know also that I don't have control from other ways, and I feel like that it's beautiful for me to see the similarity in the way that he connects to religion, because it brings to the same peace, I think.
Anybody else?
I just want to put this out there. I think maybe it addresses, in a way, something that you said earlier, even if in an oblique way. Years ago, I was telling Tay that I have so many questions during the week, but when I come here, those questions are gone, or they just seem irrelevant. They just don't seem important anymore. And then Tay said, that's because when your mind is calm when you're here. Questions come from an agitated mind. When the mind is calm, when you're in samadhi, it goes, you don't have any questions. So I thought about that. It made sense at the moment I heard it, as soon as I heard it, but during the week I thought about it some more. Had some more questions. And there's this poem, or maybe it's just a paragraph by an American poet. I forgot the name. It said, he was a minister. He said, I had a million questions to ask God, but when I met him, they all fled my mind, and it didn't seem to matter. So just take that, whatever you define God to be. But I have that experience. I came here because I had a million questions, but as soon as I walked through the door, I forgot what they were. They just didn't seem to be relevant. It's kind of frustrating. So, what you said earlier about God created things, I don't think anybody can answer that question. I think you have to experience it yourself. And then if you try to explain it, nothing will come out.
Don't think that too hard.
Just like the story of the man who got shot by the arrow, do you remember?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry about where this arrow come from. Trick yourself first. Kill yourself. Some questions the Buddha don't answer. He just, what's the point? Yeah. Clear your mind. Do your daily life activity. What you do, reduce your stress, anxiety, fear. Right? Some question is beyond our thinking. So don't waste your time. I'll answer all the questions.
Well, okay, I'm remembering some of my questions. I'll just write them all out. One is, fear comes from attachment, right?
Fear
Love.
come attachment. Yeah.
Yes. Love is also a form of attachment.
Depend on the love.
Okay. And then the other one is, I don't remember being aware of anything 200 years ago before I was born. Will I be aware of anything in 200 years after I'm dead?
Not 200 years, probably infinity. 200 years too short.
Will I be aware of anything after I die?
You have to ask yourself. Only you yourself know. Right?
I almost died. Like,
You almost died?
yeah,
Oh, I see.
like 2 months ago.
Oh, 2 months ago.
And when it happened, I thought I would like be so stressed. And it was just so relaxing, peaceful, and mellow. It was the coolest thing, and I felt like, because this is like dead, and then I kind of questioned myself in my mind. I stopped. It was like this pure, like a cream color with no breaks. It's just a solid color. And then I asked myself the question, dead? And I snapped out of it for just a second, and I realized I wasn't, and I was still alive. But the fact that I was okay with being dead, I thought was pretty cool. Because I didn't think I handled it like that. And I wasn't worried about it.
This is a come from your dream? Or?
No, actually, I was in the hospital for quite a few days.
I see.
I was just going to ask if you were wrong.
Yeah, I had a pulmonary bleed. So, yeah, it kind of sucked. But, no, but it was really just so relaxing. And it was not even, I don't know.
Did the doctor say how long you were out? You flatlined?
Well, what happened was I just like, my blood oxygen went down like under 80. I was down like the 70s, and I wasn't breathing, and all this stuff happened. I wasn't really aware of what was going on. You know, it was like you can hear like voices, and like you can remember like an instant of something happening, or a voice or something. But I don't really know what was going on. I just know how it felt at that moment.
Yes, it just wasn't getting the oxygen.
It's true, you know. It was just, yeah, it was just, I would have, and if I died, I wasn't gonna be like upset about it.
Just let go of this cloud.
that changed you since? Do you find that you're no longer afraid of death?
Yeah, I flew to Vermont last week and I didn't stress out on the plane once. I didn't even have an issue. Normally I don't like flying, I get really stressed, but I don't care. You want me to, so that's different.
So do you enjoy life more?
I'm trying to.
Yes.
I'm trying to like take in little things,
Yes.
small stuff. Yeah.
Attachment to good things is also a bad thing, right?
Depend on the stage, depend on the level you are. Just like children, beginner, they need to attach something. So first, you are practicing a beginner, you need to attach the class, the people here, is encourage you to come. If you don't attachment, then you will never come to practice. So it depends on level. So what we call beginner, we have to depend on something. Just like a child, they have to depend on mom and dad. And when they get older, I mean, you advance in practice, you don't need your mom and dad anymore. You can go walk by yourself. So it depends on the situation and the level you are.
Yeah, I was thinking about emotions
Okay.
because it's winter.
Mm-hmm.
It's got an effect on my emotions.
I see.
So-
It's more loneliness or what?
Oh no,
More
it's
sad?
depression. I'm just waiting for it to hit me.
I see.
It hits me every.
Is it the depression hit you or you hit depression?
Oh, it hits me, but
How does it hit you?
I just wake up depressed, or in the middle of the day I might get depressed, or at night I might get depressed. It'll just come out of nowhere. There's nothing to be depressed about, but I'm expecting it.
I see.
So I'm paying attention. I watch my emotions all day, and in this exercise, I'm starting to notice when I feel good. I like that feeling, and I want more of it.
Yes.
Then I realize I'm attached to this, and then when it's gone, I crave it, and then not having it again makes me miserable because I want more happy feelings, and not having it makes me miserable. So craving makes me miserable,
Yes.
and attachment makes me miserable. So I realized even becoming attached to happy emotions is a bad thing for me.
Yes.
So my project now, my ongoing project, is to cultivate more detachment, more non-attachment, go beyond duality, so I can watch emotions come and go without being entangled in them.
Okay, that's good.
So I'm realizing even attachment to good things is a bad thing.
Yes. Attach everything is a bad thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Duality and then attachment.
Right.
Go
I
back
think
to stillness, suchness.
it's the only way I think I can ever find true happiness is go transcend, go beyond duality.
That's right.
Allow it to be, not resist it, not fight it, not try to change it, but just distance myself from it.
That's right.
And what I do, okay, here's what I came for. What I do all day is I try to spend all
You
day.
don't working or you just stay home and do all the work all day?
I'm still a stay-at-home dad.
You don't take care of your children?
I take care of them.
Okay.
I'm the babysitter.
Babysitter. Your wife working there,
Yeah.
make all the money and you stay home do all those things, emotion.
Yeah. Well, I dealt with these emotions. It was when I was it was work-related stress that drove me to sin. I worked at Boeing too.
So you are lucky.
I just wear the shirts.
And what if you didn't expect the bad feelings to come? Then maybe they won't come one day.
Although they just emotions come and go. The good feelings come, bad feelings come. You can't. It's just the way. It's just the nature of our emotions. And the only way I can be happy is just distance myself from it, create some kind of detachment or non-attachment. But what I do is I watch my emotions, and if there's enough distance, I can watch it. But sometimes I'm so entangled in the emotion that I am the emotion, so I'm miserable. Then what I do is I watch myself being miserable. And it becomes interesting because a question arises: who is watching it? Who is it that's watching myself being miserable? And who is the self that is miserable? And which one is the illusion? So it's almost like there's two of me. I'm watching myself and there's the self.
There's actually true, but that is not true.
Yeah, the
There's
self
oneness.
dissolves.
Yeah.
If I can maintain
The one is just thought.
Yeah,
The seeing is not thought.
right,
The know is not thought. Just go back to the knower.
right.
Yeah.
So that's why I start feeling that the self is an illusion.
Yes. So all emotion is just illusion.
Attachment, entanglement with the emotion creates that sense of self.
That's right.
And if I watch myself, that self I continue watching starts to fade away,
Mhm.
and then there's just seeing. And then emotion only becomes a sensation. And then I get tangled in again. So it's like
If you have enough strong enough practice,
so
you do more every day, it will calm down.
So one of the things that, to take a look at the physiological side of it is, emotions are just chemical responses within your brain. And your brain is like a neural network that once a signal travels down one path, it continues to reinforce that path, and it builds that path. And every time you go down that emotional path, your brain is generating these proteins and these signals that are transferring out into your body and into the rest of your brain that create those emotions. So if you look at every one of those emotions as just a chemical product of what your brain is producing, then you can take a look at it to say, okay, this is my brain, which is a little separate than your consciousness, or what I could call my Buddha nature, and you can try to reprogram yourself just by being aware and saying, okay, just like in a neural network, I need to shift away from those reinforced lines and choose that other path. And so when you recognize negative emotions or that depression, and I'm not saying it's easy, believe me, but maybe that's a time to meditate and then try to shift those thoughts, or at least work your mindfulness to try to shift and reprogram that part of your brain where you have to shift those signals and turn away from those, that part of your brain that produces those emotions, because it is just a chemical protein balance that your brain is producing, and it's doing that because that's what it knows so well, because of the neural network. So you have to actually retrain it, and so you can only do that by a little at a time. Just like how they talk about meditation, you get those little spots of non-thinking, and eventually after a lot of practice they grow and grow. So if you use your mindfulness to try to reprogram your brain just by the neural network, that maybe that would help a little bit to take in the brain activity and try to shift it yourself.
yeah, I watch my sensations during strong hits of depression. I can feel it here, here, here in general, and I just observe the sensation for as long as I can until the psychological part of it goes away, and it's just a sensation, and it helps me survive these onslaughts of depression. I do it with fear also. If I can't observe myself being fearful, then I observe the sensation, the physical sensation of fear, until the psychological component goes away, and then it's just a sensation that helps me get past these troughs.
And how are you paying attention? By meditating or just by
watching?
By what?
You don't have any strong emotion right now, but let's say you had one. Let's say you're upset or irritated, or let's say you got really irritated. You probably feel it here. If I can't get enough distance from myself, then I observe the sensation. Every emotion has a physical component to
Sure.
it, and I observe those. I just watch it. Where does it hurt? Ask a little kid this. My son, I asked him when he was 4, if you feel an emotion, where do you feel happy? He says, in here. I said, can you draw a picture? So he drew a picture. He drew a circle in his stomach. That's where he felt he's happy. Kids understand it. You can feel it in your body.
In ancient times, they believed that your heart wasn't your emotions and your head wasn't your emotions, it was your stomach and your gut. That was your emotions. Yeah.
I think observing and describing your emotions non-judgmentally, basically, really being aware of that emotion, but then just breathing, loving kindness, and just the breathing techniques. And then also I see a lot of people who are attached to things. In my own life, I was attached to so many things, and I experienced so much emotional pain, just tremendous amounts. But then when I started to let go and not attach anymore, that pain, that physical emotion, the sensation, it just started to dissipate. I mean, I still feel it from time to time, but it's a lot less than it was. And that was hard though, because you almost want to become so involved and so attached into it, but sometimes you gotta just take a step away and then just recognize when those emotions are coming up. At least that's what worked for me.
You're observing them in a non-judgmental. That's the classic definition, well, the Wikipedia definition of mindfulness: observing without judgment, without resistance, without trying to change.
Yeah.
So my simplistic way of putting it is, I'm looking. I'm just looking at it. Looking as a superpower.
Oh.
Awareness. So many words that mean the same thing, but for me it's looking. I look at my sensations, I look at my emotions, I look at myself being miserable. If I can create enough distance, I can look at myself and that self dissolves. It's just a thought. And then looking itself is the real thing.
Looking at our soul, how far we've come along, looking at our strengths instead of our limitations. Because I think a lot of times we all have our strengths and we don't always focus on those. And we want to focus on, wow, you know, I feel bad because this isn't working, or I shouldn't feel this way for so long. I think that we're not really focusing on our strengths and how far we've actually come along, what kind of things we have done in our lives, or experiences we've had, you know, that have been successful. So I think sometimes we put too much on ourselves, and maybe that's where some of the physical pain and sensation is coming from.
Stress.
Yeah.
Do you want these feelings? I'm sorry? Do you want these feelings?
Do I want these feelings? I neither want nor do not want. I just, whatever they are, I just allow them to be. That's what I'm talking about, non-attachment. I learned that if I want something, I crave it. When I don't get it, I'm miserable, because craving makes me miserable when I don't have what I crave. When I feel happy, when I get these rush of good brain chemistry, I get high. Oh, I like this. So cool. And then it fades away, and now I'm miserable because I crave more of it. That's when I realized craving good things is also a bad thing. Being attached to positive emotions is just as bad as being attached to negative emotions. That's why I think detachment is the only way for me to become liberated and free. So I can watch emotions come and go without being entangled in them. So non-attachment is my goal.
Okay.
And I found it coincidental that when I walked in here after a few months' absence, the sutra you're studying is about non-attachment. Another coincidence.
Okay, anybody have any more coincidence? Okay, thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you.
For sharing the information, and enjoy your night and have a wonderful dream.
Yes.